Now, I know that happiness is subjective and a big topic to tackle because what makes me happy is not necessarily what makes you happy and vice versa. But I do think we can agree on the fact that at the end of the day, we all want to be happy, whatever that looks like for you. Happiness is not a static state. It's not something that we either are or we aren't, and there's no in between. It is an active process that is dynamic and constantly fluctuating. And in order for us to cultivate and maintain happiness, we have to be actively participating in it every single day. When we were kids, it seemed like such simple and easy things would make us so happy. But now that I am in my mid-20s and an adult, my happiness is my own responsibility now. I want you to take a second right now and try to think off the top of your head, what are some things you identify bring you joy and make you happy? Try to remember them for the rest of the video to see how they compare to what I'm about to say next. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because in the last few years, I've tried to pinpoint what are the things that I am doing, what are the things happening in my life that are impacting whether or not my happiness is on a high, on a low, on a medium, where on the spectrum is it? That is where I've come to realize that happiness actually takes a lot of effort. Happiness is not easy, and that is why we all chase it. We're always constantly talking about wanting to be happy. So what does that look like? Okay, so we've established now that happiness is greatly impacted by our actions. What we choose to spend our time doing, what we choose to do day to day can either bring our happiness levels up or down. However, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. So I'm gonna give you two scenarios. The first one, you think, oh, I can't wait to watch a TV show, just sit down, get cozy, get my favorite food, my favorite snacks, and put on my show and just watch it for hours. When you're thinking of that, you're probably thinking, oh, that's my favorite thing to do. That's so gratifying. That's so pleasant. That's so relaxing. The other scenario, think about exercise. As soon as I say think about exercise, you're probably thinking that is strenuous, it's hard, it's difficult, it's painful. Because of that, we often feel like we want to avoid it at all costs because it's uncomfortable. However, we do know that it is very good for us to exercise. And we also know that most of the time when we've exercised, we've always felt good and happy and rewarded at the end of it and proud of ourselves and confident. So because we know that, why don't we feel the same way about exercising as we do about binge watching our favorite TV show? The difference is one takes effort, one doesn't. One has short-term gratification that comes in right away as soon as you sit down and watch your show. The other one takes effort and some time to pass before you actually feel gratified and you actually feel rewarded. So we've basically got short-term pleasures that give us a quick rush of happiness and then a quick crash of feeling miserable. And then we have long-term, high-effort activities and things that do not give us instant gratification. If anything, we don't see the satisfaction from it for quite a while, but then the more we do those things consecutively, consistently, the happier we end up being in the long term. That is where I ended up feeling like this new year, I need a reminder, and I wanted to remind you that happiness takes effort. So what does this effort actually look like? And what can we do about this whole situation? So I actually did quite a bit of research about this, and I want to share a little bit of the more nerdier information around happiness and effort. Our brain basically prioritizes immediate pleasure and instant gratification in its choices. And because of that, because our brain prioritizes that, the things that are good for us we often try to avoid, because the things that are good for us are innately things that are hard. There are things that will take time in order to be satisfying, and it will take effort in order to be gratifying. Overall, it's just not that appetizing to our brain. When we think about, oh, of course I can order food and eat my favorite thing. Boom, happy. Of course I can grab my Xbox or my favorite video game and play it for hours and be happy. But after some time, that happiness wears off. That sugar rush is coming crashing down. And then I started wondering, there has to be someone that studied this. There has to be somebody that looked into this specific feeling you feel after you're super happy in the activity that you're doing, and then it comes crashing down. And I found this psychologist, his name is Tim Kasser, and he actually coined a term describing this feeling. It's called hedonic hangover. Hedonic hangover, to directly quote, basically refers to the feeling of emptiness or even depression that can follow periods of intense pleasure and indulgence, like a sugar rush with a lot of initial enjoyment, followed by a sense of regret and even physical discomfort. I'm sorry, but that is exactly the feeling I get after enjoying myself and diving into the pleasures of life a little bit too much and for too long. And that feeling is exactly what comes in and kind of ruins all of it. But then I continue to do it to make me happier from this hangover that I'm feeling from being too happy. The brain is got its own inner battles going on when I'm just watching my cute TV show. Another part to this is that when you reach this point, when you're having this inner battle, what basically is happening is your brain is no longer getting this dopamine rush. It's no longer getting this happiness boost. But the idea of doing a different activity, such as maybe you are like, okay, let me go for a walk. Or instead of scrolling on my phone, let me pick up a book and like start reading a book. Just the idea alone of doing those things is for some reason so uncomfortable and so uninviting. That is another side of the effort that I'm talking about. It's where you've been doing this thing that feels really good, but now you've reached that hedonic hangover level where now it's making you feel bad. It's like repulsive, but then you continue doing it because the effort of doing the alternative thing that makes you feel good and will make you feel good and you're aware will make you feel good, that effort feels like too much. So what do we do? After all that, going to the new year, how can we change this about ourselves? Simply put, we need to override what our brain naturally goes towards, what our brain is naturally inclined to prefer. When you look at your phone, it's like it's got sparkles all over it. But when you're looking at your running shoes, they look all muddy and gross and disgusting. That's pretty much what our brain is doing because it affiliates one thing with instant gratification and the other thing with long-term hard work, but at the end, a little happy. Going into the new year, we need to give up short-term pleasures for long-term happiness. I'm going to say that one more time. We need to give up short-term pleasures for long-term happiness. That's like my motto for 2024. All those things were built to take advantage of our brain's tendency to believe that our happiness lies in the next cookie or in the next scroll on our phones or in the next episode. You've heard the saying before, nothing worth having comes easy. This applies to this exact thing way too well. And I really want to make sure that this is clear, that this is not at all saying that we need to eliminate those things out of our lives. This is about building habits and behaviors that will consistently get you closer to a better and happier you. So now let's talk through some of these habits, because I can't say all this and not really talk through, okay, so what are the things that fall under this habit, behavior changes, etc. There is so much research out there showing the relationship between physical activity, life satisfaction, and happiness. We do know that when you exercise, your body releases endorphins and dopamine, which are good hormones that make you feel good and make you feel happy. But there's also another thing that happens when you have a physical activity goal. You either want to work out a specific number of days in a week, that you want to build more muscle, want to lose fat, you want to run a marathon, however loose or strict your goal is. When you exercise and you do it consistently, when you feel strong, it's a good feeling no matter who you are, feeling like you're in shape, feeling like you're not out of breath when you go up the stairs. All those little things contribute to your confidence, inevitably will lead you to feel happier about yourself and feel better about yourself. The next thing is sleep. Sleep is a huge contributor to our overall health. This is common knowledge. So a few good habits around sleep is being able to wake up and go to bed at the same time every day, even on weekends. This is a great way to stay consistent. You actually will end up feeling the best without letting your sleeping schedule fluctuate. And I know it's so hard to put that phone down when you're in bed. Like, you don't have to tell me, I know. But this is that exact moment where we have to override our brain's addiction to our phone. What I'm gonna start doing is plugging my phone in the kitchen. There's no setting up my alarm because I'm going to get an alarm clock. So there's no excuse that, oh, my phone has to be next to me, I need it to wake me up. No, there's none of that. Alarm clocks are still a thing, people. We can use them. Having balanced and nutritious eating habits is super important for many reasons. I am not a nutritionist or a dietitian. One thing that I do want to say about food: when we know that we're doing the right things for ourselves, that will make us feel better and happier, because just the knowledge that we are doing something good for us is going to make you feel good. You're going to feel proud of yourself that you're able to be consistent with eating well or sleeping well or exercising. So the same way this new year is all about taking care of our mental and physical health, this new year is also the year of creditability, where we will be taking our financial and credit health way more seriously. I would say that making smart financial choices is at the top of my list for making me feel safe and secure. The truth is, adulthood comes with a lot of major money moves, and unfortunately, a lot of them depend on your credit history. But I see that a lot of people generally are very intimidated around how credit works, because it seems like you either have to take out a hefty loan or open a credit card. However, there's actually another option. And this is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Empower. Empower is a money management app, and their main focus is to make financial help accessible to anyone and everyone at any point in their financial journey. They have a couple different features, but they're just coming out with their new line of credit called Thrive. Empower Thrive is a line of credit with a credit limit of $250, and it welcomes all credit scores with no money down. Everything is done through their app, and you can get instant access to your funds after you are approved, and you can deposit it right into your bank account. What makes Thrive so different is its flexible payment plan, as it allows you to repay it your way, giving you the best chance at making on-time payments, which is key. You have the option of scheduling your payment on the same day as your next paycheck, so that it's super hassle-free and better fits your lifestyle. With every on-time payment, Thrive can help you build positive credit history. And you can also enjoy regular limit increases to get you up to a $1,000 credit line. Empower is really trying to shake up the credit game and want to be something that you trust and can lean on wherever you are in your financial journey, which is truly so refreshing to see. I have a link in my description if you want to learn more about Empower, and if this isn't a sign for you to get more serious about your credit health, I honestly don't know what is. So download Empower so you can get started on your credit journey this year. Our phones, and especially social media apps, are the definition of how we are addicted to this instant gratification. If I'm on my phone and my partner just takes it out of my hand, I feel like I was hypnotized that whole time and I just woke up. Limiting the time you spend scrolling on your phone is key if you want to change how you feel about yourself, your life. You have to establish boundaries. So a great way to do that is actually to set up a screen time limit on your phone on different apps. If you want to take it a step further, if you have someone you live with, if you ask your partner or your sister or your mom to actually set up that password for you, you have to go ask that person to override it for you and put in the password, because you don't know the password. Just having to do that and taking those steps and asking them makes you realize, you know what, actually, I don't want, because it's kind of like you're admitting to them that I don't care and I'm just going to be on my phone and I'm not going to keep up with my goals. So I think that takes it a step further, and it's a great idea. The next one is organizing. Organizing, I'm not talking about, everything has to be to the hour. The older we get, the more things that we have going on in our lives, day-to-day stuff. It doesn't have to be like a whole thing. It can be that you write in your appointments, you write in your dinner plans, your lunch plans, you write in your workout classes and different reminders you need, random things like that, putting them on your calendar and organizing your week to week a little bit. You won't have brain capacity taken up by little random things you have to remember. And that way, a little bit of effort, maybe an hour or so on your Sunday when you're doing your chores, etc. Because then you don't have to be worried like, oh, did I forget something? Like, what is it? Just check your calendar. The next point is caring for your environment. And I mean your home, your apartment, wherever you live, your room. Our environment affects our mood and our disposition so much. And even though it might not directly contribute to your utmost happiness, all these things, when they work together, they will ultimately make you feel better. The effort I'm talking about here doesn't even have to be that great. It doesn't have to be that every single day you have to deep clean the house. That's not even what I'm talking about at all. I get it. I mean, we all get busy. I get busy. The apartment sometimes does end up a mess. Working or just living in an environment that is like disorganized, that's exactly how you're gonna feel up here. All those things are visual stressors. You make it a habit that at one point in the day, you set up a 10-minute timer and you do a nice little sweep. Right before bed, I always go through whatever there is to be done. Dishes in the sink, the stove is dirty because I just made dinner, laundry being put away, taking the time to clean so then I wake up in the morning, the next day, I don't wake up to stress. I wake up to cleanliness and niceness, and I can just get on with my day, and it's like ground zero. The next habit is to see your friends. Now, we are social beings, so in order for us to be happy, we need to participate in social interactions. That's a given. You're probably wondering, like, where's the effort in this? Like, how does this relate? Well, one, there is an effort aspect to it that maybe not everybody feels. I definitely feel it because I am an introvert. I tend to push off social commitments for several reasons. One can be just because I am tired or busy. Other ones can be I have social anxiety, depending on what the social commitment is. But then it can also be simply because it takes effort in the sense of you have to leave your house, you have to get ready, go outside if it's cold, take the subway or drive. All these things take additional effort. This is something that if we go to this social commitment, when we are actually there, we'll feel way better, we'll have a great time, and we'll be so glad we went. And that's kind of the same thing where, like, you know, going to the gym is good for you. The hardest thing is actually getting yourself to the gym. For me, at least, it's the same thing sometimes with social commitments. We're just getting myself to that social event or that meeting or whatever is the hardest part of it, because once I'm there, I'm always having a great time. When I'm home getting ready for it, I'm like, damn, I kind of don't want to go. So if you've ever felt like that, just remember that friendships bring on so much value to our lives. They should not be last on the priority list. So as remote work has become more and more popular, more people are spending time at home. Even if, let's say, you are working in an office, in general, a lot of us spend a lot of time indoors. Many people, including myself, after you work from home during the day until 4 or 5 or whatever, then you're like, damn, I'm tired. I want to, relax a little bit. So you're going to sit on your phone. You're going to scroll, see what everybody's been up to all day, turn on the TV, clean around the house a little bit, or you might start making yourself dinner. Especially in the colder months, it's really easy to end up staying at home because it's also cold, so that doesn't help. But let me tell you that going outside at least once a day can make such a difference. And there's actually research that has shown how just going outside once a day can greatly impact how your day will go, how you feel about your day. After you watch this, if you've been inside all day, get dressed, bundle up, go outside, walk around the block for 10 minutes. It will make such a difference. So the more that I talk to adults about how they like to spend their free time, the more I realize that we really don't know how to have fun anymore. I rarely hear people talking about a specific skill or activity or hobby that they are taking up and they're doing in their spare time that do not at all touch on furthering them towards a bigger goal. Nobody makes puzzles anymore, or learning a new language, practicing their cooking skills for fun. They took up DJing. We so much prioritize things that go towards a bigger goal. We never do things that are just, in a way, pointless and don't have something bigger attached to them, a bigger direction, a bigger thing. What can be so great about hobbies is that it allows us to just play around and kind of not take things seriously, let that inner child come out again. And hobbies have been found to reduce stress, to reduce anxiety, to increase self-confidence, to give us a purpose. Making the time for a hobby. Life doesn't have to be that serious, and we're meant to also have fun. So I know that I just threw a lot of information at you, and you're probably sick and tired of hearing me talk because I've been blabbering on and on and on and on. I do really think that if we want to change our lives in 2024, we have to understand how happiness really does take effort and what that looks like and what that means. Because if we want to invest in healthier habits. We will have to make the effort. We will have to be disciplined, and we're going to have to override that addiction we have to getting instant short-term gratification and ditch that for long-term happiness through effort, because in the long run, it will be better for us. Identify activities and pursuits that you truly enjoy to do. Find those things that work the best for you in whatever structure that you want, and make time for them in your life. Trust me, it is going to be so worth it. And I'm personally so excited to get started on taking care of myself this way. And that is literally it. I have nothing left to say. Thank you guys so much for joining me and watching this video about the mechanics of happiness and how we can all make small changes that will have big effects in our life in the new year. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.